Thanks for selling your car to Carvana. Here's your check.
Whoa, when did I get here?
What do you mean?
I swear it was just moments ago that I accepted a great offer from Carvana online. I must have time traveled to the future.
It was just moments ago. We do same-day pickup. Here's your check for that great offer.
It is the future.
It's the present and just the convenience of Carvana. Sorry to blow your mind.
It's all good. Happens all the time.
Sell your car the convenient way to
Carvana.
Pickup times may vary and fees may apply.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
For fans wanting more than just the score, Warhawk Report dives deeper into ULM athletics with expert analysis, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and real-time updates. Whether you are a diehard fan or just curious about the Warhawks, we've got you covered. Subscribe today at warhawkreport.com. Smart coverage, real insights, all Warhawks. warhawkreport.com.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest. You'd hope for the best as a ULM fan, but
this is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast with hosts Dusty Thibodeaux and Chase Regian.
Chase, you always have such great insight.
Tibbs is going to bleep it all.
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Really, really appreciative of the people and the community and the way that they've backed us up.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, it's a lull. There's nothing happening this week. There's some soccer, there's some volleyball, both of which have been getting some big wins, but there's just no gridiron news to really share, right?
Maybe we need a little news to stop for a second here after last week.
What happened last week, Chase?
I forgot about it already. I've moved on.
I did too.
I've moved on. Yeah, unfortunately, we have to.
So, I guess we got to come up with some good guests and guys that know about the color and the pageantry. The former sideline, the former All-American Hall of Famer from '96. The one, the only, the legendary wideout, Tag Rome, joins us on Bleav in the Warhawks. Tag, welcome in.
Man, it's great to be here. It's always an honor, to come in. And I was a wide receiver. Now I'm just wide. So skinny fat. That's what I always call them, skinny fat.
You still look good, Tag. Don't say that. You look great, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I tell you, I think we got a lot to be excited about. Yeah, it was a tough loss, but I do think we got a lot to be excited about in the future. Just overall, the whole composition of the university and that part of it's just as y'all said, bringing back that color and pageantry of NCAA college athletics in school, academics, all of it required,
Tag, we were talking before we started recording there. I guess I just didn't line up the dates and the times that you're one of the JDC boys. You're a John David Crowe guy. When you look back, was it as awesome as it seems that you played for the 57 Heisman Trophy winner and that was our athletic director, our head coach, and everything in between?
It's an honor, and I think all the guys that had the privilege of doing that feel the same way. That's why we had the Crowe reunion, and Crowe brought a lot to us too when he brought Pat Collins and he brought Sonny Jackson. He brought a lot of people into the scene that were great coaches. But as I told you earlier in the pre-show, there wasn't a lot of bedtime stories with him. There wasn't a lot of dialogue. You set up straight and you said yes sir and no sir, and it just wasn't. He wasn't going to come and say, "What's happening, brother? What, are you having a good weekend? What's going on? It wasn't any of that, But he was he just a man that demanded respect because of his what he had accomplished and how he was to people. And I think most of the people that played under him felt the same way that I do about him. But he was something. I got a couple of stories, but he was something. You knew when he walked in the room, he sounded like a black bear or grizzly bear, really. He was something. Had that Bear Bryant voice and mantra. He was special. He was good.
So Chase, one of the best John David Crowe stories I heard. He is the reason that we have the concrete wedge of a stadium that actually was gifted to us by way of the 56 Heisman Trophy winner, Billy Cannon, who was doing the politicking to get Northeast Louisiana the funding for the stadium. So by all means, as much as we might be anti-purple and gold, we got to love us some good old Billy Cannon.
I appreciate it. I didn't know that, Tibbs. That's interesting. I'd always had John David Crowe in my head as like a 6'5", just animal of a guy. I was close. 6'2", 220. He was a big dude, huh? Tag.
He was. He had a big growl. he was his stature, but he was a big guy. He was. He's a big old. He was a tough man. Tough man.
I think a lot of people really forget and kind of has our weird, affiliation with A&M, which I've always thought was a little odd. I personally hate Texas A&M, but that's a different story for a different time. Tag, I know you've been involved, obviously played at ULM, played at NLU. I know, you've really been around. I had the awful job of trying to take over sideline for you. And for the first year, everybody told me how terrible I was compared to you. So thanks for that. But I've always wanted to ask you this question. And, when I think of ULM and I think of success in the past and I think of current support, I think of you. And my question to you I've always wanted to ask is, what's kept you around so long? You've been a big supporter. You've been involved. You obviously did radio for a long time, things like that. What made you want to stick around and hang out there in Monroe?
That's a great question, Chase, and I'm honored to answer that. And I think it goes back to my dad, pride, loyalty. And like my dad always told me, you are who you are, good or bad. Where you make your way is home. Where he was just very big. We transplanted from South Louisiana, from Donaldsonville, Louisiana, moved up to Jonesboro when I was a kid. And he went to work on a railroad. And it's just, being loyal to the cause. And it is frustrating. I'm not saying I've had some times where I've been pretty frustrated trying to hang on. And I catch a lot of flack from people. I'm at the point now I would give anything to see, and I think with Bryant and Dr. Castile and now we got Ford Pemberton and just some of the people coming in, I think it's now or never. It's our time, and I know coming off of a huge defeat, but that's Alabama. That's also Alabama, and the season starts now. It's not too late, and I just think we've got some things going on. And I remember the days when we were on the cusp of 12,000 enrollment. We were kicking everybody outside of LSU. I'm just saying we were the kind of the university. We drew a lot of people out of South Louisiana. We had a lot of people coming up. It was easy to recruit to Monroe. You know what I'm saying? I still think it's that way. And I guess I've kind of, and I don't want this to sound, just kind of, I really am not interested in hearing the opinions of people who just want to see us go back to something. They want to see us go back to the FCS, or they think we can't do it in Monroe. Monroe's a great southern town. I mean, you put the two together when it's hopping, and you got Greek life, and you got people, pharmacy schools booming, construction schools booming, spring fever. My gosh. We had Van Halen 38 special. We'd have 40,000 people on campus coming in to party in Monroe at our spring fever. I mean, it was badass, and everybody loved to come up there. And we were winning. We won the one national championship, won a couple of conference championships, and Then you got to go and they attribute that to Pat Collins. Then you got Dave Roberts comes in, and he got close to a 700 winning percentage. We put out more NFL players, let's go back and look at it, during that short era than anybody else in the state, including the Tigers. And that's the truth, because we had them, we were bringing them in here, and we were winning. So there's a lot of pride there. It has been hard for some time, and it's difficult, but I just kind of see some light now that's really got me excited. Maybe I'm over excitable, but this is my place. ULM Northeast is my place. Good or bad, till death do us part. That's just kind of the way it is. Why do I want to go jump on hey, I love watching LSU. I like watching Alabama. I like watching the Dolphins, the Saints. The Dolphins used to be my favorite team growing up, just watching football. I think of Jim Kick and Larry Zonka and Don Shula. But ULM's where I grew my manhood. It's where where I grew up. I know it's a very long answer, probably a little boring, but anyway, it's just you are who you are, good or bad. That's just the way it is.
Straight money.
I'll say one more thing, and this may sound offensive, but I just, people have kids that go to other schools in the state. I recognize that. You got to go support it. But for folks that just go grab them a cap and call themselves a whatever, it's just hard for me to see what when you just because it's the easy thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's all. And so, and I appreciate people all over the state, and Demons down there, the Bulldogs over there, Lafayette. I mean, everybody.
Hold on.
He had me until he talked about some Bulldogs.
Hold on.
People got to support this stuff. I don't like them. Okay, I admire people for supporting who they truly are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I love a good rivalry, but we got to get some boxing gloves on or something. We got to get rolling so we can fight. But I love a good rivalry. I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy for everybody. And
I think it's been a long time though, Tag, since we had that good, healthy rivalry. I mean, we had Louisiana Lafayette, sure, with the whole name game, the in-state and everything. Mm-hmm. But there was some true hate, especially in the heyday, between NLU and Louisiana Tech. And I think a lot of that has been lost just over time. Take us back to that rivalry. What are we getting ourselves into starting next year?
I think it's going to be wonderful. I think it's going to be awesome. I went to high school in Ruston at Cedar Creek. Imagine an old Italian Catholic like me moving to Ruston, and I played at Cedar Creek under Chick Childress. And I'm very honored about that. I love Cedar Creek. Tommy Joe Eagles. I have a wonderful experience in Ruston. A lot of successful people over there. Now it kind of changed to, like you said, after I got out of there, and I didn't stay there and walk on at Louisiana Tech. I got an academic scholarship. ULM Northeast gave me $300 a semester academic scholarship because I graduated third in my class at Cedar Creek. And so they took me over there, and my dad said, "That's where you're going." Because I'd have probably rather I watched Roger Carr, Pat Tilley, all that. But when I got over there, some of those people wasn't quite as friendly as they were when I was there, right? So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And old Pat Collins used to always grab me and say, "You riding up in the front seat with me." And I'd get on that bus. We'd make those 30-minute, 40-minute runs over to the game. And, of course, they'd come over to us back and forth. It was it wasn't nothing to have 18 to 25,000 people in the stands. And it was electric. It was healthy. It was good for both schools, I think. I think it's a different era, but I think it's the right thing. And 20 miles, 30 miles apart, it's a great rivalry. It can be. We got to get ready. They do too. Everybody's got to get ready. And the fans, the cities do.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't, do you think it'll be a little, you're talking about a lot about respect, and I don't know if there's I don't know if it's me personally, Tag, but I didn't play them. I didn't have that. I knew I hated them. I hate Lafayette every year, and it get a little chippy. You expect it, and obviously I think both schools, if you really take a step back, you both want to do well. You both want to, be better for Northeast Louisiana. You think it's going to get a little chippy, or you think it'll be a respect like that there between the fans?
I think it's going to get chippy as hell. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got prideful people in both communities. I think that, Ruston's a little smaller, but it's tight knit. And I just hope that the people in Monroe, West Monroe, and Northeast Louisiana region, everybody comes together and supports their regional school. I can't. Guys that are in West Monroe that went to Louisiana Tech, I understand that. That's their alma mater. It goes back to we are who we are. I just hope the business people in Monroe recognize the advantage of having a successful university in its area to either. The biggest thing I want out of people is participation. I want to see them. I want to see them at a game. And if they can't make it, I understand. But if not, and cut those checks. Cut the check. To help. Just do their part. That's the biggest thing. But if I'm not interested in anybody's opinion, it's not participating in either one of those. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a lot of apathy sometimes in university communities. It happens. But that's got to go in Monroe. I think it is. I think it's getting better. I really do. I think it's getting a lot better. My opinion.
Tech, you've also done a lot of things behind the scenes on the athletic foundation, academic side as well. What's it take to kind of run a university athletic program and an academic program and kind of conduct the orchestra of both sides of the bayou?
I think that the key is unity. You got to have everybody pulling on the same rope. In a tug of war, you got a couple people on the rope and a couple people just sitting there. You got to have everybody pulling in the same direction. Everyone has to get excited about a successful pharmacy school. Everybody has to get excited about athletics because athletics is a great perpetuator of any university. Ask the president of Alabama and ask the president of TCU. The president of TCU, they took a private college over there, and they'll tell you Gary Patterson was the reason that TCU began to blow up and grow up as a private institution. Alabama, a public institution, the story, Nick Saban, and what he did for that university and perpetuating enrollment and making everything successful, making the businessmen in the community be proud to own a business in a city where they have a successful university. It doesn't take a whole lot for LSU to get many people out. You got everybody on the bayou coming up there wanting to flick some money up there because it's our flagship school of the state. But it can be the same way at a regional school. I don't like to use the word region. We're all state colleges, but you can have the same. Look around at some of these schools, what they're doing, You look at Troy, South Alabama. We got some schools coming on and building the facility may not be that of Alabama and Auburn, but it's still very competitive and they get out and compete. We can do the same. Look at what's going on in our region. Look what's going on from an industry standpoint and the money that we have to be the ones. And I think we have the people now to be asking for our share also to help us grow. So I think it's unity across the board and not one part of the bayou or on one side of the bayou saying they don't like the other side. There has to be equal respect because it takes both. It's an academic institution, but you got to have the unity. You got to have a president that unifies everybody in all walks of life that are on campus. I don't know.
Yeah, you talk about your excitability for BV and President Castile. And in your opinion, what have you heard from them or what moves have they made that makes you feel like we're headed towards that unity or that we're headed to kind of greener pastures here?
I think I think that there's some real excitement on several different fronts. What's going on? I think that, guys, we all know the almighty dollar is important in all of this, right? Well, you gotta go down and get your. I'm not saying we're going to do what LSU does, okay? But I would certainly like to see us get our same fair share as ULM and La Tech, Northwest, just all the state schools. We have to be in there making sure we get our fair share and keeping our programs adequate. And I think that's another thing. Right now, we've been under a budget crunch. The whole state has, really, a lot of the state schools. So that's why, obviously, private funding is very important, and to get out and ask those people. And I don't think it's all about going and asking for money. It's asking for their participation and for them to get excited and come and get involved and do the things to where they're passionate about wanting to do that. I feel like we have getting to have a better front line of people that can go and make those impressions, because that's what life's about. It's about earning trust, and not that you come and just asking for money. But I think that the president, she's got a big chore. She has a big chore in front of her, and Coach Vincent Ford, all the people, and any new professors coming in, the professors that are there, the heads, the deans, all of them, we got to all be challenged. Everybody, and I feel like the morale, and that's about morale, right? I mean, we've all been on teams and part of something, and I think morale is important. It's important in my own office. It's just the way it is. So I see, and sometimes it takes a little stepping back to get really moving forward, right? So I see that. I hope I'm right, but I'm still on the outside. I'm not involved in all of that, and that's not my everyday thing to be. But I care that it gets done in the right way.
You were fortunate enough, after your time on the Bayou, you were able to play north of the border in the CFL, a little brief stint there in the NFL. How big is that, knowing that, like you talked about, that was a good era where ULM was putting a lot of guys in the professional ranks, that you were one of the first ones up there doing that?
Well, I certainly wasn't look, I was, like I said, fortunately, I could run a little bit. I was very quick. I could catch a football. But, San Diego fired me 3 times. They did keep bringing me back. So as they say, I can say I got fired a lot from them. But, in Canada was different. I never dreamed of playing in the CFL, I'll be honest with you. But it was an opportunity, and knew a lot of guys from up there because of, crossing paths with them down here in the States and college and all that. But I think it just continued to teach me to compete. And it wasn't easy, and when I got injuries and those type of things happen, it really took a lot. It's a lot easier to look at a big 6'3" receiver and say, okay, he's busted up. Chase, you can appreciate this, huh? You look at a guy and say, well, boy, I hope we can rehab him. I say, we can go get another one of them. you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so you had to be tough, and you had to play through a lot of stuff. And I got Canada, I got beat up pretty good. I came down and even ran for the Saints at one time, and I blew a ham out running the 40. I just got so, I'm having surgery next week on this shoulder to repair it because it's rusted out pretty good from all the days of landing on those shoulders. But it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade a day of it. And I can remember talking to my dad, and he said, Dad, they're calling me to go to Canada. They're going to give me a little cash, And he said, go, get out of here. Go, go where you got to go. He was all excited. But, man, that was cold, and most surfaces were hard. It was unbelievable. But the most fun part was waggling. The old waggle the Canadians can do and run towards the line of scrimmage. That was kind of fun. But I had made a lot of friends, good time, great experience and just another part of a blessed life,
I wish some of that CFL would come to college football. I mean, the 20-yard end zones, unlimited backfield motion.
You run a deep post from the 5-yard line.
Exactly. And you talk about the weather. I remember talking with, I think it was Kinsman Lancaster, the old quarterback there, went up there and he said it was kind of a warm day for up north. It was like in the 50s and he got hit because they were having him work out at receiver. And he goes, kind of hurt, but you have the adrenaline, you pop up, you're like, man, that's not too bad. But about the third or fourth time, you're like, man, it's like somebody just slapping you over and over. And he's like, it got to a point where a guy would come up to you and be like, I'll pay for dinner, just don't hit me.
I'll tell you what, you break a finger up there, you don't feel it until about 40 minutes after the game when you thaw out. I mean, it's it gets cold, it gets cold. But early on in the year, it's beautiful. I mean, Canada's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful up there. And you start early in the fall, in the May, and then rolling through the summer. But right there at the end of the deal, of course, 3 or 4 of them got domes now. But we didn't. I played in Alberta, in Edmonton, and Calgary. Neither one of them they were outdoor fields. And they know the interstate runs past Edmonton. Edmonton is as far north. The next stop is in the Yukon. So it was, that's a total different element, but it was a great experience.
You leave there, you come back and coach at NLU. What was your time like there? You're there for 4 years. And
I was fortunate, Chase, for when I was playing and bouncing around in the springs. I'd come back every spring, and I worked for Pat, Coach Collins. He brought me back in to work on my masters. So I would coach the guys in the spring. And so I did that for 3 springs. And then, I came back in the fall. He brought me back in after San Diego cut me the 3rd time. And it was after the strike. I played through the strike, and I was there a couple more weeks. And then they brought, that's just kind of the way it went down. And so I came back, and Pat brought me back in. I got in school to finish up and graduate in the fall. And then I left after that, after the deal, because I was trying to get a job. I went to work for State Farm for 9 months. And then Dave Roberts came in. He called me and brought me back in, and I coached 5 seasons with him. And that was a great experience. Pat, just wasn't any openings with Pat. I could have stayed, maybe volunteered, but I was kind of wanting to get out and get into the business world, and had that opportunity with State Farm, but I wasn't there but 9 months, and I'm back at Northeast for 5 seasons. And then, that was a wonderful experience. And then Dave ended up leaving and going with Lou Holtz up to Notre Dame. And I had an opportunity. I flew up there and went with Dave and everything, but I'd taken a State Farm agency going into that after that 5th season back there. And then some things happened, and it just didn't work out. And it might come in 30 days up in Lone Oak, Arkansas as a State Farm agent, and Northeast called back again. And it was kind of after everything went down on the coaches search at that time, and I had the opportunity to do the head thing. And it just, timing wasn't right, and the way it all went down just wasn't. It just, I was kind of ingrained in being in business and doing my thing. So it was a strange deal, and it was all very honoring. And it was, sometimes I look back, my dad was all about, you need to be a businessman, be your own man, do your own thing. Of course, my mother was always, Tony, you need to remember he does have some passion about some things. So, it was kind of that type of deal. You got to figure out what you're going to do. It's been great. My family's been blessed, and I still get to be a part of ULM, and did the radio for all those years. And that's some of the most relaxing things, is a deer standing on the sideline doing the radio. You agree with that, Chase?
Isn't it, Tag?
Relaxing. People don't realize that.
You put your headphones in, and you kind of just, you get the best seat in the house, dude, and you just get to talk ball. And I don't know about you, but I'm real unprofessional on the radio. They kind of get mad at me sometimes, but I just, there's just something I completely agree. And standing on the sidelines, man, there's just something about it. It's just peaceful.
I always tell people that. Well, my third thing is getting on my tractor. I mean, those things, you're just in a zone, and you're not. People aren't calling. And you can't really talk to anybody when you're on the sideline. You got your headset on, right? You just point
You got to pay attention
after the game.
Yeah, you got to be able to somewhat talk about the game. It was a little tough last week. I will say the only tough part about sideline is what happened this weekend, and we got home about 4:30 in the morning. That's the brutal part. The travel sucks.
The travel sometimes, and the commitment of that it's a lot. And but I had some great times, and I do miss it some because what I just talked about, it is a very relaxing and awesome thing to wind down on the weekend.
Absolutely.
So I cherished every moment with Lou and Frank and all those guys and Nick and Matt. I mean, everybody. It was always good. Mike, and it was everybody. We had a great time. Like back to Buddy and Donata and those guys back in the day. And you don't remember that? Imagine Buddy in the box.
No, I don't know if I can imagine Buddy in the box, if I'm being honest. Shout out to Buddy. I really hope when I started that thing, I was, Mike Hammond had approached me, and I really had no clue, and nobody had known, obviously, besides the radio crew, that you were done with it yet. And I said, well, why would you need me to do it? You got tag. And then he kind of told me, and I said, sure, I'd love to do it. And I tell you what, man, that first game, and we've ran into each other through obviously football, but also our fraternity. And so I thought to myself, man, I just think in that first game, man, if you F this up, dude, Tag never yelled at me, but I'm like, Tag's gonna yell at you, dude. Do him an honor. Do him honorable. Do him honorable. Do it well. My first game was great, and I hope you got a chance to listen to it. My second game was terrible, and it's always been better there. But yeah, it's been a blast, dude.
Yeah. Take that $100,000 salary away from you.
Yeah, I tell you what, I lose money doing it, but I do love doing it. That's funny.
Hey, Chase, the beauty of being on the sideline, though, and Dusty, if we need to move on to something else, tell me, but the beauty of it was always this. Okay. I could go out to the Grove and eat ribs with Buddy, and if they came down to me, I could go right into the call, so I was cheating. I apologize to anybody if that offends anybody. And then the other one, we go to Arkansas, and we play up there, and it is sub 30 degrees, pouring down, raining. It was awful. This was way back. Frank, I was up there with Frank and Lou. So I go down to the field. Wow. I go down to the field. Frank Hoffman and Lou Sandoval. This is
I know.
So look, I go back, and they're coming down. Let's go down there, man tag on the sideline. And so I had snuck back up in the box, and they had those movie theater seats, and they went up about 6 rows in that box. And I was back there with that mic, and I was talking muffled. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, that was close, doing your thing, talking about it. Finally, Lou turns around like this, and he points at me, taps Frank on the deal, and he goes like that, and he's pointing his finger back there. I was about 6 rows up. I'd been up there for about 40 minutes. I wasn't even on the sideline, so I cheated.
Dude. I mean, this is inside information, Tag. I cheat all the time. It was raining. Was that last year, I think? And I used to work for VCOM, and so I called the VCOM people. I'm like, hey, can y'all open that window? I'm just gonna hang out of it, and I'm gonna eat some food, drink some drink, and just talk about the game, dude. Because hey, when it's down there and it's raining, it is a miserable job that I don't get paid enough for. So I'm going to cheat too, brother.
Chase, you are making me lose respect for sideline guys because now I'm going to hear it and be like, that dude isn't freezing. It's fine.
Frank and Lou were iconic. I tell you, Frank Hoff and Lou, they still are. I mean, I love those men. They were, that was so much fun early on as a youngster. I remember being in Georgia, and the microphone got switched over to the PA, and the PA, they're hollering out there. I had said I was on the deal, and I was going, where you at, Lou? Lou, where you at? Hey, Lou. And about that time, all the fans, I was in the hall in the corridor asking where Lou was, and he came out over the PA. And so everybody's fans, Lou, in Georgia. They go, Lou. It was unbelievable. And Lou, I said, Lou, you got crowned today in Georgia.
He was on. He was a guest. So when that big rain delay in St. Francis, he was a guest, and they had to fill about 2 hours. Corey Crowe ends up grabbing Coach Sandoval to get over there. And I'll tell you what, man, the guy's got a great voice for radio. And he talked for an hour straight. They asked him 2 questions, and that man let it rip for an hour straight. It was hilarious, dude.
Oh, man. Lou cut me off on the sideline one time, and we were talking to the Auburn War Eagle. And he comes down, and I said, well, all right, we're killing some time. So I said, let me talk to this guy with the War Eagle. And so just a long story short, I go, well, anyway, how did y'all start this tradition, with the eagle and all that? And he goes, well, this eagle is indigenous to a certain era of this. And he goes on about 20 minutes. After about 4 minutes, Lou and him cut him off, and I'm still standing there with a mic. They cut him off. And old Lou said, Tag, we got to go. And I got the mic with this guy, but he didn't know. And so I sat down there with him and let him finish the story. I mean, it went from A to Z about this War Eagle.
Great radio.
I figured out what shoes he wore, when it rains, what rain jacket he wears, everything. I mean, it was unbelievable. Old Lou cut him off.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Tag, I can't thank you enough for carving some time out, joining us, reliving the hashing out the old days and telling us what it was like. Greatly appreciate it. Tell everybody what you're up to these days and where they can maybe follow you on the socials if you're into that.
Well, I have to do something on my business, so I have, and so it's that for an old man, an old guy, I'll be 65 next year. It is a little different with all the social media, but I've been involved in it. I've had people that have helped me and professionals that help do it to perpetuate my relevancy as an insurance agent with State Farm. So, it's real, and my wife loves it, and she does a great job with it. And my son's not real good with it. He's kind of like me, I guess, but it's. I have a Facebook. I have all the social, platforms that you got to have in business and those type of things. But I tell you what, my favorite thing is get eyeball to eyeball with good friends and good people, and being at places that are, like our football games and like our athletic events and like our other events we have on campus. I love doing that. I love the social part of that because it's normally great people. And that's where I like to be.
That is Tag Rome, State Farm agent there on Facebook. Tag, I want to tell you, thanks for joining us tonight. AEKDB, brother. And I wish you well, and I will see you soon.
You bet, Chase. I'll see you here in the upcoming weeks. And y'all pray for me. I got to have this old shoulder, so y'all don't come hit on me when you see me at the Arkansas State game. I'm going to be in a sling. Dusty, make sure they don't come banging on my shoulders over Union guys. That's what I'm scared of. Coming back from the Union.
True. You can hang out by me. I'll be your bodyguard.
I may get you, Chase. I may get you that weekend. Get you guys protected.
Hi, I'm Kristen Bell. And if you know my husband, Dax, then you also know he loves shopping for a car. Selling a car? Not so much.
We're really doing this, huh?
Thankfully, Carvana makes it easy. Answer a few questions, put in your VIN or license, and done. We sold ours in minutes this morning, and they'll come pick it up and pay us this afternoon.
Bye-bye, Truckee.
Of course, we kept the favorite.
Hello, other Truckee.
Sell your car with Carvana today. Terms and conditions apply.